Hi, this is I'll Explain. This is another I'll Explore, but this time I'm exploring my own videos about the explanation for God or Burning Gundam. Now this is a anniversary video that let's say I didn't have any plans for it, but it just dawned on me that the anniversary is coming up, and I definitely learned a lot more, or at least developed a lot more about how I make videos. So I think it is a good time for me to react to my old videos and give some feedback, or criticize myself, or say what I would do different today. So let's roll. Hi, this is I Explain. This time I'll explain the God Gundam, model number GF13017 NJ2. This is the mobile fighter Dormon Kashin uses in the finals of the 13th Gundam fight. Unlike other Gundams that Neo Japan developed for the 13th Gundam fight, God Gundam is a solo project of Dr. Mikamura, Ring Mikamura's father. While it is an option for all Gundam fighters to swap their Gundam for once during Gundam fights, most nations do not take the options, as they have at best 11 months to develop this second machine for their fighters. Dr. Mikamura, however, felt that he had failed Dormon by exposing flaws of the Ultimate Gundam, a la Devil Gundam, thus leaving Dormon's brother exiled and his father Dr. Kashin cryo-prisoned. Now, first of all, this is one of the rare video where I would talk so much about the characters involved. Recent series would be the Blue Destiny, where Dr. Clutch Moses is instrumental. But even so, I avoid mentioning Yukajima and Nimbus for the most part, because they are they are instrumental, but they are kind of the machine themselves. And for the story told, they are basically the human counterpart of the mobile suit. While that isn't the case for God Gundam or just Mobile Fighter G Gundam in general. In general, the mobile fighters in G Gundams are extension of the character themselves. So it would be very hard for me not to talk about the pilots and some of their narrative bits as well. That is not to say that is a change or not, but at least this part is where I will keep most of it, although I definitely start to speak a lot slower. Part of it is because it will make editing easier for me. Another part is I realize YouTube can do double speed playing anyway, so if people think I'm speaking too slow, they can just double the speed. Sure, people can slow down while I'm talking, but generally slow down is worse for the audio. So Shining Gundam was criticized by Neo Japan because its super mode requires Dormon's anger to reach a certain point to activate. In response, Dr. Mikamura decided to put his faith in Dormon's growth as a fighter and develop the hyper mode for God Gundam to replace Shining Gundam's super mode. The hyper mode requires Dormon to focus his ki to control the energy field generated by the core lander's 6 fins. Through the artificial Ura generator located on God Gundam's chest, this green red dot green thing here, When done properly, it can generate an effect like magnetic coating, allow the mobile suit's joints to move without friction. This is another part. Again, the Blue Destiny series is a good example. I would put the core features of the mobile suit way behind these days. Mostly so that I can start picking up the mobile suit and talking about it externally before we dive into the internals that mostly hidden from the eye. Now, fortunately, God Gundam's design language have everything very visible. It is part of the design philosophy of the mobile fighters. They don't have a lot of internal, what, mystery mechanisms. Rather, everything is very outward, showing that people can tell immediately what the mobile suit is about for the most part. That is not to say there isn't a lot of flares that is purely for aesthetics. Like God Gundam, there's no reason for the extra antennas and the double lenses, but here we are is to show that it is a more advanced type of mobile suit. Same for the gauntlet, even though these days the games pretty much, the games would expand that the cross would get their use. At the time, the cross is just a design language to signify God Gundam is a phoenix, rebirth of Domon Kashin, so to speak. Synchronize and amplifies other energy field generated elements around the entire mobile fighter as well. It is very much a direct reflection of Domon's state of mind and skill as a fighter, instead of borrowed strength like Shining Gundam Supremo. Fortunately, Domon doesn't just become a great fighter, he achieved the state known as Meikyo Shishui. This further expanded the functionality of the hypermode, achieving perfect synchronization between Domon and God Gundam, to the point where his 6th and 7th sense are also linked to God Gundam as one. Now, I would, for example, in the exam, again, rather Blue Destiny series, I would start to explain more what I mean by some of the terms, but since G Gundam is very much a martial art based series, the language used here are the general martial art kung fu law that I don't think I need to explain, even when I do Master Gundam somewhere down the road. So that's that. I would also insert more words on the screen these days. I do a lot less actually for the recent months, mostly because I find them distracting, like trying to point something on the gunpla, but if I have words on the screen, I have to give it time to breathe, and often than not I don't do a good job on it. So it is a thing of me having to think about giving that breathing space in the script or during the recording. And sometimes, or rather, now that I have a bit of a library of my own footage, I can get away with putting back block letters up for people, but have a picture instead. You will know that in the show it will become, the whole mobile suit become gold at this point, but this is keyframe, doesn't do that. Oh, one more thing. I definitely point out the difference or some of the design choices of G-frame, I wouldn't say more often, but for my first batch of videos, God Gundam is definitely the one that I sort of breaking the fourth wall, so to speak. Now, that's not to say the R-Explorer format isn't looking at the Gunplas as replicas, but these replicas or scale models, very loosely used here, not having the desired function as they would in the lore or anime or whatever media they were, is something I try to avoid in my script in general. Mostly because I can't demonstrate them. So it's no point for me to put it in the video. But since the Meikel Shishui is such an integral part into what makes God bracket Burning Gundam superior to the Shining Gundam, I have to talk about it. And yes, it is clearly inspired by Super Saiyan mode in Dragon Ball, also partly Street Fighter, because that's how G Gundam become G Gundam. The relevancy is for the Explore version, where we talk a lot more about real world publications instead of in-universe lore. The God Gundam also sports all-round upgrades from Shining Gundam. The Shining Finger is now upgraded to God Finger, holding beam energy so intense that it turns the air around it into flames. The frame braces are also upgraded to optimize launching God Finger's energy as projectiles. They can also extend forward and act as gauntlet for more punching power. The legs booster is now located at the rear of the legs, more in line with kicking motions. The core lander expansion now have 6 fins generate energy field not only for the hypermode, but also greatly improved God Gundam's mobility to a point where Domon can generate mirages of God Gundam like Bunshin no Jutsu. Another change is I definitely would try harder to separate the hardware and its effects. Now, I don't really do that. I would definitely try harder to organize if the function was a requirement or if it is a result of a combination of things. Like the whole Bunshin no Jutsu type movement enabled by the core lander, if the camera would focus on God Gundam, thank you. That is a result of Domon practice ninjutsu, some form of ninjutsu either way, or the general martial status of him being able to go very fast. These days I would definitely throw a line about how Domon does that, although I guess at the time I was thinking mobile fighters are directly connected to the performance of their pilots. So, the mobile suit will only be able to do that if the pilots can do it. Or the Gundam fighter. Either way, I would definitely rephrase that to be a effort of Domon and God Gundam. In fact, following that up with the hypermode, I would probably, if I does this, the God Gundam Explain again, I would definitely start off by, how Dr. Kamimura feel that he failed Domon and built all these things that could theoretically do such and such, and then later on I will mention, but then Domon become a phenomenal fighter. He can pull all of these plus the actual Meikel Shishui. So I will mention hypermode first, all the functionality that comes with hypermode, and then I would mention how the hardware work in tandem with hypermode, and then how Domon and Mikkel Shishui elevate the whole situation. The beam sabers are also upgraded, allow it not only handle but work in tandem with the extra power of the Godfinger. Machine cannons are added to the shoulders, in addition to the head falcons, to better deal with drones or other thrown weapons. Thanks to Dr. Mikamura's skill and his trust in Domon. Yeah, focus. We just talked about focus, and I definitely pay a lot more attention these days. You might not in some videos, if you watch the whole thing, you will see you will see my disembodied voice even more disembodied than it's supposed to be, and that is because I had some take that looks fine on the camera's viewfinder, but it's totally botched when I look at it through the computer's monitor. And then sometimes you will find I just left unfocused or not optimally focused shots in because the alternatives are way worse. So yeah, I definitely spend more time recording for that to facilitate better text. But in general, I try to keep my text short, basically stopping myself from rambling too much, and I just ending up cutting the whole thing anyways. God Gundam emerged victorious at the finals of the 13th Gundam fight and subsequent encounter with Devil Gundam. As you can see, I didn't even say thanks for watching back then. I could have ADR'd it. I have no idea what I was thinking at the time, that I just did not do it. It was just so weird these days to not have thanks for watching. In fact, I never show that, but there are a few like our explore videos where I start, you will see a very weird cut, and that is because I go for thanks for watching thinking I'm finished, and there's like no, there's one more thing, I have to mention it, but then that makes no sense if I cut back to my original thanks for watching, that I will have another thanks for watching. So I either ended up have like a couple thanks for watching going on, or I will do an entirely separate tag as the sort of outro for our explore specifically, because in our explain I have a script, and the script will have thanks for watching, and I just say what the script, well, I don't say everything correctly, but mostly. So I will remember to do that with the thank you. This is not the end yet. I still got a bit more to babble about, but thanks for watching for however long you were here. Yeah, this video is less than 5 minutes long. It's less than 4 minutes long, in fact. And it would be hard pressed for me to do a script video shorter than that these days. Partly is because I kind of know how long the videos would get from the script these days. Not the exact time, but I got it. The ballpark is somewhat correct. And I just, as I do more videos, I find more and more topics to talk about for mobile suit or mobile fighters in this case in general. So it would definitely be, it will be very hard for me to do such a short videos these days, because I would be like in the conception on the production part, I would be like, no, that's not enough material, I need to throw in a bit more. Or I would probably just leave the camera on the spot, try to improv something, and even if that something does not work, I can quickly revise it and record another videos about that, and hopefully stitch them together for something that's viewable. As for why we have the Master Gundam in the box with God Gundam here, number one is to differentiate the two videos on a visual standpoint. The other thing is I realized I have a Master Gundam and I could have make a anniversary videos, as a counterpart to God/Burning Gundam. But on another hand, I think I reach a point, well, not I reach a point, but the channel reach a point where it is clear that people in general are less enthusiastic about lore dump with a physical representation, Gunpla figurine, replica, etc. That marrying does not go as well as I hoped it would. But I was doing, or I will still be doing Outspling. The purpose of Outspling is actually to build up some sort of basic knowledge so that I can do what I actually want to do, like what I have been calling, or what I did call out in the channel introduction that I just shoved away because nobody watched that thing even. Or rather, I hate the autoplay video in the channel homepage. Every time I click my channel, I just see that. I was like, nope, I don't want to see that, so I shouldn't put that on my channel. So I get rid of that. And actually going for Goten Mobile Suit and start talking about how good the Gunpla or figurine or whatever type of replica in doing the job of recreating what we see in screen or what's described in novels or comics or whatever media you see them, or video games actually. A lot of what I talk about of God Gundam really permeates in Super Robot War instead of from the anime. Like, people probably completely forgotten God Gundam once pulled out a Buzuno Jutsu and completely overgrossed the fact that it's moved a lot smoother than Shining Gundam used to be. So I think I wouldn't do I'll explain for Master Gundam. I'm still debating if I would name the Master Gundam I'll explore, or I will have a new sub-series again. When I am talking in and out of a single mobile suit and how well the set medium is representing the mobile suit or mobile fighter in this case, as it would be in the lore. I hope I can get it done somewhere within a month after this video gets out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.